New Hampshire starts with the premise that property should be considered as all going in the pot to be divided somehow, and that somehow would be equitably. And a lot of folks think equitably means equally. Oftentimes it does, but equitably means really fairly in the eyes of the judge. And how the property would then be divided would need to take into account, and the judges are required to take into account, factors such as the length of the marriage, contributions to the marriage, also what will the parties' incomes be going forward, what are the parties' respective ages. If one person has 30 years ahead with a great income potential, and the other one is at the end of a working life and has no future income earning potential, these are all factors that can bear upon how the court should divide the property. The court starts with the premise, we'll divide it equally, why shouldn't we? At least in the case of divorces that have gone on medium or longer time frame divorces. In the unusual circumstance of what you might call a truly short-term marriage, maybe a year or two, the courts start with a different premise. They have a different starting point, and the judge will say, why shouldn't I just put you back where you were? Again, that's in the case of a very short-term marriage. You've only been married a year. The court starts with the idea, I'll just put you back where you were unless someone can tell me some very good reason why that would be unjust, how that would be inequitable. And then maybe one last consideration on that topic would be, oftentimes people have lived lives long before they now get married. Maybe each party has been married once or twice before. And the court will consider whether property was accumulated prior to the divorce. In the first instance, the court will still say, all the property goes into this pot for me to consider. But then one of the major factors is, well, where did this property come from and when? And it's not uncommon after, say, somebody has had many years of accumulating property prior to the marriage, perhaps much or all of what came from before the marriage will be allocated to the party who brought it in. And then what was developed during the marriage may well be what ends up being divided, sometimes fairly equally.